Hello there, everyone. How you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/entitled people, where the people are, as you may have guessed, very, very entitled. If you enjoyed today's stories, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and all that other stuff. Now, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? My grandma kept my grandpa's cancer and death from me because she was mad at me. So my grandpa died a week ago, and I just found out today. For context, my father, their son, is an alcoholic, and my mom eventually divorced him and was a single mom. My grandma was so mad at my mom left she called CPS on her, so there's red flag number one. Anyways, my grandparents half raised me growing up. My mom worked with lots and didn't have anyone else, so we went there. They were wonderful. Some of my happiest memories are with them at the farm, but especially my grandpa. We had a special bond. He is the greatest man I have ever met and probably will ever meet. An actual angel. Sweet, gentle, heart of gold. So like 1.5 years ago, my grandpa called me while I was going through a rough patch in my life. Basically said I'm doing nothing with my life and that I'm a failure. Totally out of the blue, and she was drunk. I told her to please stop. She wouldn't, so I just hung up. And that led to her ignoring me for over a year until this past summer, when she finally answered one time I called. I called every month, hoping she would pick up finally. I cried when she did. I wanted to go see them. I did a 180 in my life. Have a successful apprenticeship. Am doing well with my boyfriend. I met a year ago. Everything was perfect. It took about a month for me to see her because she was always canceling. Because her and Grandpa weren't feeling good. He's 91, so I get it. I visit at the end of August, have a great visit. I tell her I'm starting to work 60 hours a week, and I'm super busy with a bunch of commitments, so just call me if she wants to talk and we can plan another visit. A bit goes by and I haven't heard anything. I try calling and there's no answer. My birthday comes and goes with no call, which is odd, so I thought she was mad at me again. So I give her space. That brings us to today. I'm at a restaurant with my boyfriend when she calls. I get excited and pick up. We start having a normal conversation. I tell her about my work and how I've been moving for the past few weeks with my boyfriend. Then she just drops, "Grandpa's dead." Just like that. I'm shocked and say, "What?"
Yeah, he died last Friday. Was full of cancer. Been in the hospital for 6 weeks.
At this point, I'm in shock and go outside because I'm starting to cry. She tells me there'll be no funeral. He didn't want visitors at the hospital. Then she drops the,
"You guys,"
meaning me and my sister,
"must hate us for not calling or visiting."
Then it hits me. She's using my grandpa's death as a way to punish me for not giving her enough attention. Even though I told her how busy I am with my shop job, working 60 hours a week, planning my friend's wedding, and trying to move all while this is happening. I only had energy to work, shower, eat, and bed for the last month and a half. I'm in survival mode because life is insane. I told her to call me because I have almost no free time right now. And this is after she cut me off for over a year for me asking her to take it easy on me when I was super vulnerable and her not respecting that boundary. Now my grandparents have money. My whole life there's been talk of inheritance. She uses that to control everyone in our family. She causes fights with people, reminds them of the inheritance, and waits for them to grapple for her forgiveness even though she hurt them. As I grow up, I realize what a narcissist she is and how dark her soul really is. I know she has trauma. Her family escaped Germany during the Holocaust, but she hurts people for fun and lives emotionally punishing them if they don't read her mind. She left her own sister on her deathbed because of a fight they had that she caused over a year before she got sick. I feel awful for my grandparents if you really did want visitors and she just manipulated the whole situation. My poor grandpa. I wish I could see him one more time, but she took that from me because of stuff she made up in her head. I'm just sick to my stomach. She took it this far and used my grandpa as a pawn in her sick mind games. It's not about her or me. It's about him and what's best for him. I don't care about her damn money. I just want my sweet grandpa. She controlled the phone since he was basically deaf, so he couldn't even call me if he wanted to. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. I'm just emotionally destroyed, like she wanted and planned for. I feel lost and heartbroken and can't understand how she could do this, since she knows how close we are. Just because I'm busy and preoccupied with life as a young adult, and overwhelmed and busy and excited at getting a fresh start. If she wanted to talk to me, she could have called. The phone works both ways, and I told her to do just that until things settle down for me. Now my grandpa is gone forever, and I'll never see him again. That is truly awful, OP. My heart is breaking for you. The only advice I can offer is light a candle, sit, and talk to your grandpa, and say all the things you wish you could say. Pour your heart out to the candle, and use that as your own funeral or closure. I am so sorry you're dealing with all this. It turns out my granny is a stellar manipulator and narcissist who lied about being disabled for decades. It's very wrong, but quite satisfying and funny ending. This is my father's story, which I have permission to share. We're not native English speakers, so expect some confusion. To give some background, my father's family, or the main characters I might say, with all fake names. Karen, his mother, aged 76, my grandmother, is a retired farmer. She damaged her back while working. She has 2 back surgeries which my father paid for, refused to follow the doctor's recommendation, and became partially disabled as a result of inadequate physical therapy. She survived off the income of her children for almost 20 years. My father is 56 years old. Sam is his younger brother, aged 54, divorced because he cheated on his wife. He had a well-paying career, but spent all of his money on his mistress's car and houses. When he ran out of money to spend on his girlfriends, he took out a large loan to buy more things for them, but refused to pay for his own daughter's college fund, by the way, and went into bankruptcy. Sam and my father loathe one another because Sam thinks my father is extremely critical and demanding of everything he does. Susan is his younger sister, my auntie, 48 years old. Mary is Susan's 18-year-old daughter, my cousin resided with. Susan divorced her husband because he was abusive. She was the primary caregiver for Karen, and she handled all of the chores. However, she was also laid off as a result of the pandemic, leaving her jobless with substantial debt. The same year, she took her own life. My father has provided the majority of their money since he was 18, as he worked in a different city and a good-earning job. He's been transferring the majority of his earnings to Karen. He didn't have enough money to save or live a lifestyle that matched his income. He even informed me that he couldn't pay for my college. Preschool to high school is free because of the government's aid and scholarship, because he needed to give money to Karen, and the program I wanted didn't offer a scholarship, so I had to attend a specific school that offered complete financial aid scholarships. After Susan passed away in 2019 or 2020, the exact year is uncertain, my parents had no choice but to retire earlier than we intended for a decade. They returned to my father's hometown and began working full-time as Karen's caretaker and housekeeper. At the same time, Sam returned to live with Karen after he went bankrupt, and he became a freeloader, drinking, smoking, gambling, and flirting with more women, using my parents' money, of course. I also have to contribute 60 to 70% of my salary to Karen's household because my parents' resources are insufficient to cover additional freeloader living expenses. Karen's mortgage, generation debts combined, and Mary's education allowance. This nearly wiped out all of my parents' savings, but my father was never a favorite child for some reason, despite the fact that he supplied the most money. Caused no trouble and was always willing to help his family, pay bills, run an errand, and so on. During the time my parents were living there, Karen's shenanigans include: she likes to pretend to be delirious and pooping or urinating all over herself as punishment, causing my parents to clean it up. They took her to the hospital multiple times because they're concerned she had dementia, or age-related regression or anything else, but physicians confirmed her brain functions, thought process, and orientation are all normal. Karen only believed what Sam said consistently, chastised my parents without hearing their side of the story. Karen has always pretended to be partially disabled. She was indeed able to walk and run like a healthy rabbit, but when she visited her in the past, she always pretended to have had difficulty with walking or helping herself at least a decade in order to gain others' pity, except when being alone with my mother, as she hates my mother since forever. My mother had to secretly record a video of her running, or nobody, including my father and me, would believe her. The recent occurrence that broke the back of the camel. Karen went to check one of her bank accounts, which had like 20,000 from selling one of her lands. Karen noticed that her balance had decreased by around 5,000 over a period of 10 years. Karen immediately accused my parents of stealing her money. My parents tried to explain to her that they used all their savings to help pay for everything, since they were running out of money and no longer had a consistent source of income. They used that money. Karen became outraged, telling everyone she knew my parents had stolen her money. The land was technically my mother's, by the way, since my mother was the one who had paid for it, but it was registered in Karen's name for the sake of family, so in Karen's twisted logic, it was rightfully hers. After years of being free caretakers and housekeepers, my parents decided to move to the same town as me. They paid a large sum for moving services, 500 kilometers, to transport all the necessary appliances they had purchased over the years, such as a refrigerator, washing machine, and air conditioner. So Karen no longer has any appliances, caregivers, or extra cash to spend. I hope her golden child will be there for her from now on, because we are no contact. And that's the end of today's video. If you all enjoyed the stories I had for you, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and all that other stuff. I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta. Bye bye!